My name's Levi. I'm 23 years old. I'm based in Glasgow. I'm a professional wrestler.
So you've been doing wrestling for how long? How did you find it?
I've done it for 6 years now. One of my close friends was friends with my cousin, who they grew up watching wrestling, loved it, and he got into wrestling and told me about it, and I thought, this could be I might give this a shot, and it's just somehow worked. I've been kind of winging it ever since, but it's been working so far. So,
would you say you had any prerequisite skills before you started? Like, it takes some acting chops for sure, just to be able to do anything in front of a crowd.
I did. I had a part in a pantomime. I was in Peter Pan. I was a lost boy, and back then I was very cautious on the way I looked. I was not into training at all, and people would always come up to me now and say, "You're one of the most ripped guys we've got here," and it's just because now I think it's from a past thing. Like, I don't want to be back to where I was because people always judged me the way I looked. So now this is kind of like my reward. Like, people don't judge me. They praise me for it now. So it's just you don't like people saying bad things about you. Like, it's one of those things. Like, if you ain't gonna say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all.
Yeah. Where has wrestling taken you geographically? I mean, I imagine there's shows all over the place. Are you strictly in Glasgow? Or if you could just speak a little bit about the journey that it's been, where you've been, who you've wrestled against.
Yeah, I've done quite recently. It's been expanding now. Like, under the banner of ICW now. So ever since COVID happened, that's actually been a big advantage for me. Because before then, I was nowhere near ICW. But eventually they had closed door tapings, and they invited us in, and they liked us so much, they were like, we're gonna have you part of the new roster. And now, like, just done a show in Newcastle, so started getting my face shown in England a few times now. It's been very good quite recently, like doing shows here at Girders as well. Got the tournament, so in the semis facing Molly Spartan. So fingers crossed I can get through there, and then off to the final to win my belt. So, and I've also had a couple shows with Grado recently run a show as well. And I was facing Shaz Samuels, who just came back from WWE, so that was a big opportunity for me quite recently.
And were you at the Comic-Con show?
So getting to have that match with Shaz Samuels from WWE, and then also getting doing Comic-Con as well, that was just amazing. Like, seeing so many people dressed up and kind of fitting in with just your wrestling gear. Like, oh, do I need to dress up? I don't. And then I'm like, oh, I'm dressing up. I've got my gear on. So, but it was amazing. I loved that. And it was really hard because being the first match, people don't really understand like the wrestling, and maybe they don't watch it. So it's like, it's not really their thing. And being the first match, it was a bit of a struggle, but we got there in the end. And by the end of the show, everybody was loving it.
Do you set short and long-term goals as a wrestler? I mean, in the short term, what do you think is going to happen? And in the long term, what's the ultimate dream of a wrestler, where you could end up with this career?
I mean, of course, so many people will say, want to get to WWE, or other people would say they want to become WWE champion or go to WrestleMania and stuff like this. But yeah, definitely, I would love to go to the big companies like WWE and AEW and New Japan. Like, it'd be amazing for that, but that ain't gonna happen tomorrow or the next day after that. So it's always brilliant to have just wee goals. So baby steps. Even when I got my first match, I was so happy because this was me finally getting to do what I love for the very first time in front of an audience. And I treated that like my WrestleMania moment. Like every match, I feel like it's your last. So you give them everything you've got. Like it is your big WrestleMania moment as well. So that's, I always try and say to myself, have your wee baby steps. That will help you get to the big end goal.
What does it mean to you when you see people coming back and you see familiar faces in the crowd cheering for you or against you?
Yeah, well, quite recently, being down at Newcastle, I've always been the guy who's loved by everyone. Everybody cheers for you. And at ICW, let's just say it didn't go that way. So it was very split down the middle with me. And that's what the love of wrestling is. You cheer the people you love, you boo the people you hate. It's one of those ones, and especially seeing certain people that I know, it's great because if they've seen me for the very first time at a Girders show or down at GPWA, and they saw me and they say you were my favorite wrestler, and that means a lot. But then the next show you're on and you see that same person, you can see how much you've affected that person because you have had an impact on them, saying you're my favorite wrestler, and now I want to see more and more shows. You're bringing in more people, that's what it's all about. Try and get more people in in the buildings like this, so we can have it all packed out and have an amazing show.